I'm making the point that Gavin Newsom is losing this argument. How would I say that? Why would I deduce that? How would I come up with such a thing? Well, listen to the folks on CNN and what they highlighted with this chart. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, if we just take a look at the baseline numbers here, this is Trump's net approval rating on immigration. It's gone up like a rocket.
Did you hear that, Governor Newsom? Did you hear that? I know you're about to leave office soon. I get that. But did you just hear that? America is with Donald Trump. America is with the GOP on this issue.
Here's the thing about Gavin Newsom that mainstream media rarely says out loud. The man is losing. Not just a debate or a bad news cycle, but the bigger argument about what kind of leadership Americans actually want. And the wild part is who's pointing it out. It's not just Republicans. It's CNN. It's Stephen A. Smith. It's Bill Maher. The criticism is coming from inside his own camp, and they're not just talking, they're bringing data. When your own side starts calling you out on live TV with charts to back it up, that's a serious red flag. So today we're breaking down why California's golden boy is watching his political future crack in real time. And trust me, you'll want to stick around. If you like this kind of straight-up political analysis, hit like and subscribe because we're just getting started. Let's set the stage. Gavin Newsom is pretending he's not running for president, but everyone sees it. He sees it. His team sees it. He leaves the governor's office in 2026 and clearly has his eyes on something bigger. But here's the awkward part. You can't pitch yourself for the highest office while your own state looks like it's falling apart. That's like applying to be a head chef while your current kitchen is failing inspections. People are noticing. Stephen A. Smith recently laid out a case against Newsom that should make California Democrats uneasy. His first major point, the woke agenda has gone too far. Being progressive isn't the problem. Having values isn't the issue. But when ideology starts taking priority over solving everyday problems, you've lost the plot. Newsom has spent years pushing causes that play well online but don't help the family struggling to buy groceries. The clips are everywhere and those clips don't disappear. When you run for president, every moment comes back under the microscope.
Gavin Newsom's talking about potentially running for the president. Actually, he's not talking about it. He's trying to avoid talking about it, but we all know what he's doing because he has to leave the gubernatorial seat in 2026. The governor's seat in 2026. We know what he wants. You gonna pull it off with the record that took place in California all of these years under your stewardship? It's nice to see him sticking his chest out and going off. You think they don't have clips of how you embraced extreme leftist policies during the whole woke movement and cancel culture and everything else? You think they don't have those clips? You think they didn't see people getting arrested and let out of jail the same day?
And then there's homelessness, which hits hard. Walk through downtown LA or San Francisco and try to say things are under control. The streets are full of people with nowhere to go and little real help in sight. Stephen A. points out that the state's response has been slow, tangled in bureaucracy, and ineffective. Human suffering in one of the richest states in the world isn't just bad policy. To many, it's a moral failure. Now add the cost of living. Living in California has become outrageous. Housing prices have exploded. Taxes keep climbing. Regulations push prices even higher. Families who lived there for generations are leaving because they simply can't afford to stay. Businesses are doing the same. When major companies move to Texas or Florida, that's not random. That's a verdict on leadership.
You think they don't have footage of crime ravaging the streets of Los Angeles or homelessness? You think they don't know about the cost of living and how it's the highest in this republic right now? Let's talk.
Stephen A. goes deeper than just policy. He points to a bigger problem. The refusal to seriously engage with people who disagree. California is a deep blue state, no question. But that doesn't give leaders the right to ignore millions of Republicans and independents. When their concerns are dismissed or treated as inferior, resentment builds fast. And once resentment takes root, it's hard to stop.
Pretend to know. I'm just an American citizen and a conscientious observer that's able to read and deduce what the hell is happening to some degree. I don't have all the answers, but damn it, the people who do, what good are you if all you're going to do is spew vitriol and alienate one side with 77 million voters that are going to look at him and embrace the victim or the victimhood that he's embracing? How do you serve to convince them to swing your way? Because somebody needs to. How are you going to convince people to go to the polls?
That lack of dialogue isn't just bad politics, it's bad governing. When you only listen to people who already agree with you, your policies become one-sided. You miss problems. You ignore better solutions. You end up in an echo chamber where applause replaces accountability. Stephen A. warns that unless Democrats start finding common ground across the aisle, both California and the party face long-term instability. And that brings us to immigration, which may be Newsom's biggest vulnerability.
On this particular issue, as it involves migrants, immigrants, those who are undocumented, dare we say illegal, in the United States of America, he's winning on this issue. There's a reason he won the popular vote. There's a reason he won the electoral college vote. There's a reason he won every swing state. There are people within the United States of America that want our immigration crisis addressed and want the situation resolved somehow, some way. And a person that seems eager to bring a resolution to the table is President Donald Trump.
CNN, hardly conservative, showed a chart on Trump's approval on immigration. During his first term, Trump was deeply underwater on the issue. Now he's in positive territory. That's a huge swing, bigger than on almost any other topic. So what does that mean for Newsom? It means he's on the wrong side of an issue voters care about more than ever. While Trump has gained support for his hardline stance, Newsom has moved the other way. He's blocked federal measures and promoted sanctuary policies critics say create chaos instead of control. California has become a battleground in the immigration debate, and in public opinion, Newsom looks like he's losing. To many voters, his actions don't look like leadership. They look like roadblocks. Schools are overcrowded. Services are stretched thin. Housing pressure keeps rising. And instead of clear solutions, people see more political fighting while real problems remain unsolved.
Because based off of what Donald Trump said, I'm making the point that Gavin Newsom is losing this argument. How would I say that? Why would I deduce that? How would I come up with such a thing? Well, listen to the folks on CNN and what they highlighted with this chart. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen.
You know, if we just take a look at the baseline numbers here, this is Trump's net approval rating on immigration. It's gone up like a rocket. Compare now versus 8 years ago during Trump's first term. Look at this. In his first term, Trump was way underwater at minus 21 points. But look at this. He's up over 20 points. Now, in the aggregate, he is in positive territory at plus 1 point on his net approval rating. Some other polls even have it a little bit higher than that. There is no issue on which Trump is doing so much better than he was in his first term, more than the issue of immigration.
Then there's the high-speed rail project, once sold as a symbol of California's future. Now it's a symbol of dysfunction. Even Trump mocked it, pointing out how massively over budget and behind schedule it is. What was supposed to take a decade has dragged on endlessly, with costs ballooning far beyond original estimates. Instead of showcasing innovation, it now represents waste and mismanagement.
They may say we had a bipartisan agreement when Joe Biden was in office that Donald Trump convinced the GOP to nix because he wanted to use it as an issue to favor him during the election. Well, damn it, it worked. It worked. And I got news for you, Governor Newsom. It's working now. But before I go any further to elaborate on this issue, let's hear from Donald Trump himself. Let's see how he feels about the state of California and what's been going on under Governor Newsom's regime. Check out the president.
I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there.
Enter Bill Maher. He has his own explanation for why California struggles. Bureaucracy. Endless, suffocating bureaucracy. Maher argues it's not a lack of money or ideas holding California back. It's a system buried under regulators, inspectors, consultants, and review boards that slow everything down while charging for it.
There is a deep state, which is the bureaucratic class that justifies its existence by making up new rules, and that's my job. It's the vast network of regulators, administrators, inspectors, contract reviewers, project managers, fee assessors, special commissioners, zoning officers, and consultants whose jobs seem to be to make sure nothing ever happens and then charge you.
California has wrapped itself in so much red tape that even simple projects take years and cost far more than they should. Permits require approval from countless agencies. By the time anything gets done, taxpayer money has already been burned on paperwork. Mar isn't against regulation. Rules matter. But when bureaucracy blocks progress instead of guiding it, something is broken. Here's a striking stat. Some estimates suggest that if red tape were cut in the renewable energy queue, the U.S. could reach around 80% clean energy in just 7 years. The enemy of clean energy isn't only oil companies. It's also excessive permitting. California has perfected this form of self-sabotage.
Semaphore estimates that if the red tape could be cut in everything that's currently stuck in the renewable queue, the United States would be 80% zero carbon in 7 years. The enemy to clean air isn't just big oil, it's big permitting. It's not that America isn't able to get anything done, it's that we're not allowed to. Of course, there should be consideration of the environment on everything we build, but as so often happens on the left, they seem to have no ability to recognize when they've taken a concept way too far and are in fact hurting their own cause.
Environmental protection matters. Almost everyone agrees on that. But when environmental reports grow into thousands of pages and take years to complete, something has gone off the rails. We're cutting down forests worth of paper just to decide if something is environmentally friendly. The irony is hard to miss. So where does that leave us? Stephen A. Smith and Bill Maher, coming from very different worlds, arrive at the same conclusion. California's problems aren't isolated. They point to deeper leadership and structural failures. Woke politics that favor symbolism over substance. A crushing cost of living driving families and businesses away. A homelessness crisis that embarrasses a global economic power. Immigration fights driven more by politics than solutions. And a bureaucracy so bloated that progress becomes painfully slow.
Barack Obama once said one of the biggest lessons he learned as president was there is no such thing as shovel-ready projects. Environmental impact statements used to be a few pages long. Now they're thousands of pages of legalistic nonsense and take an average of 4.5 years to complete, with thousands of bureaucrats filling out millions of paper forms that kill hundreds of forests to answer the question, is this good for the environment?
Gavin Newsom stands at the center of it all, trying to present himself as a future president while his state struggles on multiple fronts. His reluctance to compromise, his resistance to working across party lines, and his inability or unwillingness to cut through red tape have fueled public frustration. Projects stall. Taxes rise. Businesses leave. And everyday Californians pay the price. What makes this especially damaging for his national ambitions is that California is now under a harsh. Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if this gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.